Hi, my name is Matthew Bellisario. Welcome to another edition of the Bellisario Sonic YouTube channel. Today, a video I've been wanting to do for a while, and that is a comparison of the Boston record, 1976 record that came out in August of 1976, if I'm not mistaken. Arguably one of the best classic rock albums ever made. Not a bad song on the entire album. In fact, great songs on both sides all the way through. Tom Schultz doing a remarkable job writing all the songs and producing the album, coming up with a unique Boston sound, a unique way of recording with the acoustic guitar, the clean guitars, the scooped distortion guitars, come up with a really unique sound on this record, and they never could top this one, in my opinion. But what I wanted to do was compare an original 1976 pressing. Now I'm going to tell you exactly the exact pressing that I'm referring to, because there are a ton of them. If you go over to Discogs and look at all the different, this is one of the best selling albums of all time. So when you go on Discogs, you can see just in 1976 alone, there are just tons of different releases. From what I can tell, the mastering is supposed to be the same on both of these. So let me tell you what I have here. I have an Epic JE 34188. That's a 1976 pressing. Mastered at Custom Matrix, mixed at Westlake Studio. This was also the actual mastering is by Wally Trago, or Traggott, depending on how you pronounce his name, Traugott. That is the mastering on this particular 1976 pressing. So an original pressing here. Not the first pressing, I wouldn't say, but it's a 1976 pressing. Again, there are many of them. So what I did is I wanted to compare this to the one that I bought this year, and it's actually a 2020 release. And on Discogs, it's just listed by the number here at the bottom of the album, which says that it is a 194-397-7371 is what it has on the bottom of the album. That's how they've got it listed on Discogs, released in 13 November 2020. Now, on this, it says mixed at Westlake Studio, mastered at Capitol Studios, and it says it was mastered by Wally Traggott. So it doesn't say anything about it being remixed or remastered. It's mixed by Steve Hodge on this particular one. And the only thing I can tell is that on the one original one, it says it's mixed at Westlake Studio, and on the 2020 it says it's mixed at Westlake Studio. So actually it's the same thing. So it's supposed to be this. What I find interesting on here is it's supposed to be identical mastering and identical mixes, apparently. But I can tell you right now, they sound nothing alike. And it's not just me saying that. I had friends over, because I've listened to both of these several times now, and I was like, wow, these sound a lot different. So I had a couple of my friends over. And so what I just want to tell you is the differences. I'm not going to be one of these people that says this one blows away that one or any of that kind of stuff. I'm just comparing the two. And they both have their strengths and their weaknesses. For one, on the original, the vocals in the guitars are very upfront, and I really appreciate that, because the vocals on this album are absolutely fantastic. And you can really hear them better on this original 76, okay? I can hear the vocals in the guitars, and that's what's up front. And that's pretty cool, because really those are the strengths of the music on the album. Not that there's anything wrong with the drums or the bass, but those guitars, the guitar sound and those vocals are just really what gives it that unique sound. On this particular release, this 2020, all of us noticed right away that there was much more bass on the record. There was no question. I mean, it's like, wow, we didn't hear the bass than the drums as much. The bottom end was much heavier. And out of all three of us, two of us preferred the original. The other person said that they actually preferred this one a little better. They thought it was better balanced, that they liked to be able to hear the bass more, and that sounded actually a little bit balanced sound. Now, the only other difference between these two presses is that this one is not in mint shape like this one. This is brand new. This one, I would say, is like excellent. I mean, it sounds pretty good, but you can hear a little bit of, noise on the record. It's not a lot. It's not like it's crackling. You can hear it coming through the music or anything, but there is a little bit of surface noise there. That's the only difference. But what I find interesting is I find no difference in mastering, and I find no difference in mixes that can be found on, at least on Discogs, or I looked online to see, and I really couldn't find anything. So if anybody out there knows anything about what would be the difference between these two, because it would have to be a mix or a master to make that big of a difference. I mean, it's quite a bit of difference, like noticeably. I'm playing these two records through a Fluence RT85 with the Ortofon Blue cartridge on there, and I'm going into a nice set of Studio Monitor HS8s, Yamahas. So it's a pretty decent system. No, it's not hi-fi, but it's not trash either. It's what I think a lot of people out there would be listening through something similar, us working class folks, which is what I'm primarily making these videos for, our normal working class people that have regular systems that normal people have, not people that have these $10,000 turntables and $10,000 systems. So I just want to emphasize that. This is a nice system. You have a $500 turntable. These are $350 a piece monitors. So it's a decent sounding system. But I can tell you there's much more bass on this new one, and the vocals on this and the guitars cut through more on this one. Those are the two most noticeable differences. They are both pleasant to listen to. So I think no matter which one you buy, because that's what it comes down to, right? With all of us, what are we going to enjoy sitting down and listening to? Well, this is a perfect example of the subjectivity that comes with these different pressings and different releases. There's, one person out of three of us enjoyed listening to this more. They liked hearing the bass, the heavier bass on this. The other two of us like to hear those vocals cut through more crisp in those guitars. So it's all a matter of personal choice when it comes to this. So, as far as my recommendations, I can't tell you which one's better. I can tell you the differences. The difference is the vocals and the guitars cut through better on this one. There's less bass and the low end on this. On this one, since there's more bass, more low end on it, the vocals don't cut through as much and the guitars aren't quite as accentuated as they are on that one. That's the two what I came away with, and I've listened to both of these several times. And again, I had two friends come over and sit down. I'm like, you got to listen to this. Tell me what you think. And so that's what my experience has been with these two releases. So there you have it. That's my Boston comparison, very brief and to the point. And hopefully that just gives you some information out there on what you're looking for if you're going to buy the Boston album. And again, if you go on Discogs and look at 1976, tons of different pressings, but as far as I can tell, it looks like the mastering and the mixes are supposedly the same. So if anybody out there has any information that they know of for sure, not speculation, but information on why they sound so different, why the bass is so much heavier and the low end is so much heavier on this new pressing than on this 1976. And again, I just want to emphasize the two copies I'm talking about. That was the JE34188 1976 Epic release, and I'm comparing it to the 2020 194 397 77371 released in 13 November 2020. So there you have it. Thanks for joining me, folks. Coming up, Led Zeppelin. I'm going to be doing that pretty soon. And I got a couple of other ideas for videos as well. And so I'll be coming out with those hopefully very soon. The Led Zeppelin one, again, I'm taking my time on because, again, it's really interesting what I'm getting between these three different records. So anyways, we'll talk to you later and take care.